I'm coming live today with Lisa and my little Lily. She doesn't let me go or do anything, so I have to be with her. So our live is about practical tips on overcoming cravings, unhealthy cravings, that is. So I'm very excited to talk to Lisa and pick her brain because she has such a big experience on that. And yeah, and what is it? Okay. And she inspired me with cravings in a very practical way, like several years ago, when she said that when she eats higher fat food, that it by that to lower my fat intake. And it really helped to eat more high carbohydrates. Hi, Lisa.
Hello, hi Lily. Hi Lily. Oh, she's so adorable.
Thank you. Yeah. Yes, you
Yeah.
are. And you know it, yeah.
She's learning from the best.
Yeah, I was just telling everyone how you inspired me with sharing on your YouTube videos that when you started eating lower fat and higher carb, then that helped you with cravings, with unhealthy cravings.
Yes.
Yeah, and that was really inspiring for me because I was kind of in between the two camps, like go low fat or go higher fat and low fruit, because I had issues with my teeth and I was kind of scared to eat fruit for a little while, and then yeah, and thanks to you, and especially when Raw Vegan Bundle came out, that was really a turning point for me. When I saw all these people thriving on low-fat raw vegan lifestyle, I'm like, yeah, I want to give it a try. And of course, I was giving it a try before too. I was just making some mistakes.
Yeah.
So
It's easy to make those mistakes because fat's delicious. I mean, let's be honest.
satisfying.
Yeah, and it's okay. Fat isn't evil and it's not bad, but we have to focus on having it in an appropriate amount in our diets to function properly, right? So we can still enjoy it. We just enjoy it in smaller amounts and, specifically with greens and salads. I mean, like my smoothie this morning,
Yeah.
it's the Georgia peach smoothie from Debbie Adler's book that's in the bundle. And everybody go to Rennie's page and go get the bundle because it ends tomorrow. This is the last chance to get it. Right? So but that smoothie has some hemp seeds in it, which I normally don't do, but because it's the bundle and I wanted to try her recipe, I did. But it's really interesting, like, day in, day out to stay on the low fat end.
Yeah.
And it really, really helps with cravings. Because I find, like, the times when, maybe there's a little bit more fats going on, I find like I feel like I need more of it. Or like I have other cravings too. And cravings never go away. That's something that a lot of people always ask. They're like, when do the cravings go away? Like, well, cravings are a symptom of hunger, right? Yeah. So they don't go away. They just change.
Exactly. That's why I emphasize if I have space on social media, I always try to add unhealthy cravings, because healthy cravings are wonderful. Like you say, they're just signaling that we need to get more carbohydrates, minerals, amino acids, even, everything that we need. It's a great thing to have cravings. So.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's something that I feel like in diet culture, people are so obsessed with, I can't have cravings. But a craving is natural. It's just what we crave that we need to start addressing, right? Because it just means that you're hungry. And I personally believe that for the most part, cravings are a reflection of our daily habits. So when we are hungry, we typically crave what we typically eat when we're hungry, right?
Yeah.
Or we typically crave what we grab and go. We typically crave what everyone else is eating. We typically crave what's available around us because we always choose that. But what I noticed through my journey was when I started changing what I chose when I was hungry, my cravings started to change because habit doesn't happen overnight, right? It takes time, it takes repetition. So eventually over time, my cravings changed and now I crave a salad, I crave a smoothie, I crave a bowl of fruit, I crave, a wrap.
But
it's, yes. So yeah.
Yeah, helpful things like that. And what would you recommend to someone who really wants to transition and start eating more healthy foods, and they're still in this old habit, and it's just like it feels like it's so hard to get out of it. So, what would you recommend to them?
So, I prepared 5 tips. Because it's about practical stuff, like stuff that you can do right now that can help to change your habits. The first one is the easiest one, but it's also the hardest one because we're not in the habit of doing it, but planning and preparing. That's like the first thing that we have to do. If we want to be successful in anything in life, we have to plan and we have to prepare. So when I do my coaching calls with people who are struggling and stuff, I always ask, so what do you plan to eat today? What's on your plan to eat today? And like 99% of them have no idea. They're like, I don't know. I'll just eat whatever I feel like when I'm hungry. And I'm like, that's the problem. That's one of the root cause problems of why we just choose whatever, because we don't have a plan.
Yeah.
So I suggest people plan, and you can set an alarm in your phone to remind you to plan every night before bed or whatever time you want to plan. And write down, because studies show if we write down our goals, we're more likely to do them.
Yeah.
So write down what you plan. Yeah, write it down on a piece of paper, not in your notes in your phone or anything, like a real piece of paper with a real pen. Write down what you're going to have for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and snacks if you feel like having snacks. And make a schedule. That's like the second part of planning that most people forget to do, because we can have these lofty goals and plans, and I want to do this, and we also feel like our future selves can do a lot more than what we think we will do, right? Like we always think like, oh yeah, the future self of me is going to be amazing. But it's like, well, if you're not doing those things today, what makes you think you're going to do them tomorrow? So don't, think that you're going to be able to make your plan happen without a schedule. We have to schedule ourselves into our day, just like we schedule dentist appointments or work. We go to work on time every day, right? So why don't we show up for ourselves? And for example, like you and I planned this live, and we're like at 10 a.m. PST, we're going to go live. So we both go live together.
No matter what. It was like so big.
I know, it's so cute. Oh my gosh. But we make it work for each other. But we rarely do it for ourselves, right? Like it's like, at 8 a.m. you're like, at 8 a.m. I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
But then 8 a.m. comes and you're like, I got to do this. I'm going to do this
for me.
Yeah. And it's hard, guaranteed. Like life is life and it throws things at us and, it's all over the place. But if we can strive to schedule ourselves into our day so that we can make our plan happen. Because if you plan to have, for example, tonight, I'm going to be making Daniel's Forbidden Rice miso burgers from his edible art ebook. By the way, you guys, get the bundle, go to Rennie's page or my page and get the bundle from the link in our bios.
Yeah. That would be a big loss. And people are so sad when they miss it, because that's it. You'll never get it, these same recipes ever again.
Exactly. You have to buy them all separately.
Yeah, you can, but it would.
Not for $50. No.
No.
So,
way more.
Yeah. So in order to have that burger, I might want the burger, but I have to actually make the burger. So I have scheduled in my day exactly what time I'm gonna blend it up and put it in the dehydrator between my lines.
Yeah.
What?
In ingredients also, you need to first get ingredients if you don't have them.
Exactly. So if people can just start there, if they can just start with a plan and they can start with scheduling, this will release a lot of pressure off of people, because then we can go to tip number 2, which is eating enough.
Yeah.
So if you schedule and plan your meals and your meal times, like, I'm gonna eat lunch today, I'm not gonna skip lunch, and I'm not gonna skip meals, because what happens is when we skip meals or eat small portions or forget to eat, we're stressed out, all of these reasons why we're not getting enough fuel in our bodies, our cells are like, hey, I need stuff. So we get over hungry, and without the plan, without the scheduling, without all that stuff, then we just grab whatever looks good. And and we're going to grab what we habitually grab, and what's in the cupboard, what's around, So eating enough is super key. And I noticed this when I first went raw. I quickly noticed that I needed to eat a lot, especially because we were talking about low fat. When we're eating a low fat diet, it's very easy to undereat calories on a raw diet because of calorie density. So I found really fast, I got to eat huge amounts of food to get the amount of calories that I need to stay healthy. And, along with the calories, you're eating variety, you're getting a lot of other minerals and nutrients and stuff because of the variety. But eating enough is so important. And I think a lot of people miss that fact. And then they wonder why they have cravings.
Yeah, most people, I don't remember any person who joined my program who would eat enough in the beginning. It's like, it takes a while to start, and then they're so surprised that they're finally succeeding and how much they actually can eat. Like, it takes a little while for sure, like for everyone.
Yeah, I posted a video the other day. It was a what I eat in a day video when I went for a really long walk to a nature preserve for my self-care Sunday. And when I got home, I was super hungry because I had like almost 30,000 steps and I would walk it all day. And I was really hungry and I was craving like this massive salad. So I made this like big salad, and somebody commented and was like, I'm just amazed at how much food you eat. And I'm like, I gotta eat, and I was really hungry that day because I expended a lot of exercise. And that's another thing people don't realize, is that if they are active, they're gonna need more calories than if they were more sedentary, and especially on a raw diet, like we have to eat a lot of food.
Yeah. Vegetables are so low calorie density. You can really, and if you don't have this super fatty, huge dressing on it, then like it's not that much. It looks big, but really not that much calories.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I like the date-based and fruit-based dressings,
for lunch,
because then you can bulk up the calories of your salad without the fat. For lunch it's ideal. Yeah, totally. I know, that's what my favorite lunch is, like, date-based dressing or a mango dressing. And I try to keep it super low fat at lunch. Usually if I'm gonna put fats in my salad at lunch, it's typically just chia for the omega-3s, because chia is pretty high in fiber compared with all the other seeds. So I don't feel it's like, too crazy putting it in lunch salad. But yeah, you got to do the low fat. It works so well, and you can feel so much more satiated because you get to eat a lot, which I love to eat. I like eating. So
Yeah,
it's nice
yeah.
that I can
Oh my
have big
God.
salads. But the tip number 3, practical for cravings, would be to get new recipes. For example, go to Rennie's Instagram or my
Oh,
Instagram main page and get the bundle so you can get some new recipes. I
yeah.
feel like a lot of people get bored with their food, and it doesn't matter what diet you're on.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what diet you're eating. Most people get bored eating the same thing over and over again. And it's nice to switch things up and try new things and get excited about new things. Like when I started freezing and thawing the sprouted chickpeas,
Oh yeah.
my whole world opened up, and I learned that from Chris
Yeah,
Kendall, because he was, freezing and thawing stuff too, and I was like,
yeah, yeah,
I never liked sprouted
yeah.
chickpeas. Like I wasn't a fan of them. I'd have them once in a while, but it wasn't like a huge amount of time. But I decided one day, I was like, I'm gonna try the freeze thaw with the chickpeas. And mind blown, I was like, these are amazing. So I started making so many chickpea recipes. Like I've got the chana masala and I've got the biryani, which we're making live today later on my channel. There's an Italian salad.
Yeah.
There's also the blondies, the chickpea blondies recipe that's in the group
Yeah,
collaboration ebook.
yeah, looks beautiful.
So finding new recipes can be really helpful to curb cravings, because now you can find new things that you can enjoy, that you can look forward to. Because most of us look forward to like the Friday night pizza night or whatever, like I used to.
Pizza night.
Yeah, you can have a raw pizza night. You can get the bundle,
Yeah,
and you can
there's raw
get,
pizza.
yeah, Daniel's ebook has that raw pizza
Oh,
in it.
beautiful book. I know your recipe pictures are mind blowing. Everybody knows that, and Daniel now is starting to catch up. He's like, wow, art of raw or something like that. So
Full art, yeah.
edible art, so pretty, mind blowing recipes. They're like familiar to people. This similar to these traditional ones, to regular ones, and wow, just beautiful.
Exactly. Yeah, so if you're craving a hot dog, you can make one of Daniel's hot dogs. If you're craving a pizza, you can make Daniel's pizza. If you're craving chana masala, you can make one of mine. If you're craving lots of things, like there's plenty of different recipes that you can make. So that would be my tip number 3. Tip number 4 would be to recognize that we humans are reward-driven creatures. And we gravitate to what's going to give us the most reward. And that's why we typically gravitate to those high dopamine foods, because we're going to get a big reward if we eat those. We're going to, we're going to feel all these things. But instead of focusing on the negative effect of the negative food, think of the positive effect of the positive food. Because if we're reward driven, we want a reward, but we rarely think of the rewards of having the salad. We're like, but if we really put ourselves, like, close your eyes and feel the feelings you feel when you make a positive choice. And I used to do this when I first started as well. I would just pause and I would say, how do I feel when I choose a salad? Well, I feel proud of myself. I feel vibrant. I feel satiated. I feel happy. I'm excited that I made a good choice. Like, I wanted all of those rewards. So I would be more likely to choose the salad over whatever I was craving. And that helped a lot. And along those lines, another like psychological change that I did in the very early days, because I ate a lot of Chinese food, Doritos. Those were like the 2 things that I ate probably the most of before I went raw. I remember one night I was laying in bed and it was like 11:30 at night. And it was probably like maybe a week or 2 into raw, maybe a little more. And I was seriously craving like a Chinese food from the restaurant that I would always go to. And you're thinking about it because it's a habit. And I haven't thought about that for years because I don't eat it anymore. So you can tell the cravings change. But at that time, I was having that craving. And so I remember reading somewhere that people who imagine things, like experiences, get benefit from that experience without actually having to experience it.
Oh, yeah.
So I laid in bed and I imagined every step of going to the, like getting in my car, driving to the mall, getting out, locking my car, getting into the mall, and like the exact path that I would take to get to the restaurant. And then I'd stand in line and I'd order whatever. And I'd imagine it in great detail. And then I would sit down and I would take a bite and I would imagine the flavors and I would imagine the taste. And after like 2 bites, my brain was onto something else. Like it just needed that that satisfaction of imagining, because it's only as good as the first 2 bites anyways.
Yeah, so cool. Wow.
Yeah, so that was a technique. Not everybody can do that, because for some people it might make them want
Trigger.
it. Yeah, but for myself, it worked very, very well, because I got the satisfaction of thinking about it. And then I was thinking about doing laundry, and then I was thinking about this, and then soon I fell asleep, and I didn't have the craving anymore. I just gave my brain what it wanted. Without having to pay for an animal to be hurt or to eat something that didn't align with my lifestyle. All I did was think it. And that was helpful for me. But again, not everyone can do that, just a disclaimer. But it worked for me. It was really, really good.
Wow. For me, like immediate reward is I don't know how unusual it is, but some people who work with energy and who do energy exercises, they might feel it, that when you eat raw food, it's like this buzzing energy, like pours in all the cells of your body, and I feel this buzzing all over. Yeah, cheers. And in the first few years of my raw journey, when I was living with my parents, I would take a bite or a few bites of some cooked food, and I would feel how it's like it doesn't have that vibrancy. It's kind of like a heavy, kind of like a moist brick going down. I don't know. It's just yeah, the taste buds, it kind of like, oh, it gives something to taste buds, but there's no this feeling of this energy or this vibration that goes like throughout your whole body. So this for me was like always kind of pulled me back to eat raw food. Yeah. And also I would feel kind of heavy, like I would take a few bites, like eat a little bit, and then I would just right away feel this kind of down, kind of heavy energy. So that works for somebody who is sensitive like that to energy.
Yeah, and that's a good point. Totally a good point. And people need to not be so hard on themselves. I feel like in the diet culture world, we're taught that if we eat something off plan, we're bad people, right? And that really, it's really sad, because it's all it is a choice. And you're not a bad person because you ate something cooked. What I like to say, if people like do give in to their craving, or they do try some bites of cooked food, to practice awareness, exactly what you're saying, is notice how it feels in your body. Just pay attention to that, and don't tie your identity to what you eat, right? Like, don't think you're a bad person or a good person just because you choose something different. But to focus on more the self-awareness of how you feel in your body, and then you make choices in the future that align more with that. And that's all it is. It's a choice is neutral. It either takes us towards our goals or it takes us away from our goals, but it doesn't take away who we are, our worth, our self-worth, our self-love. Like, it shouldn't take that away, but we should just notice it and then make adjustments based on how we feel, instead of kicking ourselves or feeling guilty or frustrated or any of those things. Like, those emotions don't belong in diet.
few days ago, my client said, "Oh, it was such a failure. You know, I didn't need." I said, "Well, there are no failures." I like this that perspective when they say there are no failures. There's only feedback.
Yes.
Feel.
Oh, I love that. Yes, there's no failures, there's only feedback. That's a good one.
Yeah,
That's a
I
good
love
one.
it. Some
Yeah.
spiritual
Yeah.
teacher said that.
And people say like it's a mistake, but it's
Yeah.
not a mistake, it's a learning opportunity. It's a
Yes.
chance for you to learn why you chose that.
Yeah.
Did you skip a meal? Were you out with friends? Were you being peer pressured? Did you just not have food available? Did you not plan? Did you go to bed too late? Or like, you know, like there's so many factors. So when you do make a different choice, and I like to say a different choice, not a bad choice, just a different
Yeah.
choice. If you make a different choice that leads down this way, ask yourself why you made that choice.
Yeah.
And ask yourself how you feel. And then you take all of that into account and you think, okay, well, next time I'm in this kind of a situation, I want to try and plan better. I want to try and bring my food. I want to try and make sure that I schedule my prep in for the day so I don't end up going to, you know, the sushi place for lunch or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that we don't beat ourselves up over it because it's just a learning opportunity.
Yeah.
And then we can learn and we can grow and then we can be better in the future.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah. So my fifth and final tip would be to take it one day at a time and focus on being consistent instead of trying to do it all at once, right? You know, like there's people, they'll get the bundle, link in Rennie's bio or my bio. But they'll get the bundle, they get all excited and they want to go 100% raw and be raw for a year or a decade or whatever it is, right? And they feel really overwhelmed. And this is normal to feel because when you're always exposed to something new, it's like overwhelming. There's so much stuff going on. Oh my gosh, what am I going to make? What am I going to do? And then they don't plan, they don't prepare. And then, you know, a day later or next week or whatever, they're back to their normal stuff because they didn't take, you know, all those things into account, planning, scheduling, eating enough, all that kind of stuff. So I like to tell people, just take it one day at a time. You don't need to be raw for a year. You don't need to be raw for 30 days. Just be raw today.
Yeah.
And then when you wake up tomorrow, do it again. And then over time, this creates consistency. And we know that habits are built on repetition. The more often you choose something, the easier it gets. So every time you practice, you wake up in the morning and you say, today I am choosing raw food. That is my goal for today. And don't worry about tomorrow. Like you'll get there eventually, you know? So yeah, that would be my final tip.
Yeah.
Just focus one day at a time.
Thank you. Those are so awesome. Fantastic tips. Thank you, Lisa. And I would say, like, for me, when I started, it's just I was so excited about raw food. I wasn't even thinking how long I'm going to be doing that. I was just like, it's like a whole world opened up to me and freedom. And I always like to be different. So I'm like, I'm the only one in the whole store now. Well, I wasn't even thinking that. I was just like, you know, it's different and it's so exciting. So I was just all the time wanting to eat raw. And of course I wasn't like perfect in the first 3 years. Like I said, I was trying, especially living with my parents. I was sometimes not under eating and taking some bites, and at the same time I was just so excited about raw food, and this vibration, high energy. I was just coming back to it all the time. And another like quick little story. I was super addicted to bread. And every week, a few times a week, I was walking past a huge bakery. And this smell just like penetrating my nose, my brain, everything. And I was like, oh, like every time. And one day, after learning, you know, how to satiate myself with raw food and learning some emotional techniques, like subconscious techniques, and trying all that and practicing, I'm walking by, and again the smell comes, and I'm like, oh yeah, again. And all of a sudden I had this revelation. I'm like, I can be just like a butterfly, floating, flying above all of that, above these cravings, above my past where I was eating that bread, above other people who are, want to eat. So instead of feeling like I'm depriving myself from the bread, I'm free from it. And it's switched, like such a big switch in my head. And ever since then, like even like with other cooked foods and everything, I always kind of came back to that image, like, and that feeling, the main thing, that feeling of freedom, instead of going like, oh no, no, no. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm free.
Oh, I love that. That's beautiful. I know that it's interesting you talk about the smells, and I can add this like really quick as well. When I thought this when I was in Montreal, I went for my interview to immigrate to the United States, and every night I would go for a walk down like the main touristy area where there's tons of restaurants and they smell really good. And I'm walking down and I learned that 80% of the enjoyment of a meal is in our nose, right? So I'm walking down the street and I'm smelling everything. I'm like, I just enjoyed 80% of that meal.
Yeah. Like, that's a good one.
Yeah, I always would tell myself, like, we're not bad people for enjoying the smell of bread.
Yeah.
We're not bad people for enjoying, the smells that are naturally everywhere. Because if we go into, like a garden and we smell the flowers, we enjoy that. We don't eat them, right? But that's how I have the perspective. Like when I walk by a restaurant, I can smell it and be like, that smells good. But it doesn't mean that I want to eat it. It just smells good. It's like an air freshener.
Yeah. And Chris said the same thing. He's like, yeah, I perceive it now as an air freshener.
Yeah, totally. So that
Yeah.
takes away the, like you said, like the stress of like restriction, like being like, I can't have that or whatever. It's like, no, just enjoy it. It exists. And you're not a bad person. You're not a bad person. If you take a whiff and you're like, that smells pretty good.
And that reminds me of the little story also that I heard in the beginning of my journey, that the lady was fully raw for like 2 years, and then she decided to celebrate the anniversary with husband, and went to the restaurant and decided to have a little like vegan meal, and it smelled so good. And then when she tasted it, she said, it smelled better than it tasted.
Isn't that the truth? When I first went raw, it was like maybe like 2 or 3 months in, I did, and I made a video about this, or a long time ago, but it was one of the very few cooked meals I had at the very beginning. And we went to a piano bar for an anniversary, and I was like, I'm gonna get this vegan dish, and the exact same thing happened to me. I was like, that smells so good, and I'm starting eating. I was like, like I was so excited to try, because I wanted to try a raw till 4 day. So I did like, raw in the morning, raw for lunch, and I think it was my birthday actually. And I had this, like, I had a raw salad. They gave me a raw salad, and then I had this like potato pot pie thing. It was gluten-free, but it was potatoes and veggies, and it smelled amazing. And I'm eating it, and I could only eat like half. And I was just like, I was like, I would have rather had like a big salad, but whatever. It was a nice experiment to try and see, but exactly like what we're talking about. You try it, you don't feel guilty about it, but you recognize how your body feels, how it tasted, and and then you make decisions after that. I was like, I don't really care for it anymore. Like, it didn't really resonate, because I had more things that I resonated with that I preferred more. And when it boils down to it, it's about what we want. And we want raw food, so we eat raw food. It's not like we eat raw food because we're scared of cooked food, or because we're worried that if we eat something else, like we're going to be, whatever. But we choose raw because we want raw. So it ultimately, I'm like, I'm eating what I want to eat, which is amazing.
Same here, 100%. And yeah, like you said, the cravings don't go away. And at the same time, these unhealthy cravings definitely are just not here. Some people worried who join my program or my clients, they say, well, I can imagine how I'm going to be fighting all these cravings like for years and years, how for so long. No, you don't have to. Like there will be cravings for healthy foods, like you said, but for me, definitely all these unhealthy foods or cooked foods, I'm not craving them for years and years already. It's like been over a decade.
Yeah, and like we live in Las Vegas, so here there's a lot of restaurants and a lot of fast food. And the only reason I think of these things is because I see them.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, in my regular life, it's like, well, I don't even think about it. Like somebody a while ago, a couple years ago, we were just chatting and they were talking about muffins. And I was like, oh yeah, muffins were a thing. Like I totally forgot that they were even a thing to eat because once it's not in your world over time, and that's one thing people, they want it now. They want the cravings to disappear now. They want to change now, but it's not like that. It's like, I tell people, I'm like, well, you're not expected to speak fluent Spanish if you don't even know how to say hello overnight. It's a gradual progression. It's just like learning how to play guitar. You can't play like a huge song overnight. You have to put the reps in. You have to practice. You have to do it every day. And that's the same with diet. The more often you repeat those choices, the easier they get. The cravings just melt away. And it just takes time.
Yeah. You gotta be excited. Like imagine, like you said, imagine how you're gonna feel, eating this way. Well, wow, how you gonna feel when you're healthy and all your like symptoms are gone,
Exactly.
How it's gonna feel. I was really excited about it, and luckily for me, it happened so fast. Like in a week or two, I was like, "Whoa, my pain is gone!" I was like, "What can be a bigger motivation than that?"
Exactly, I know, and that's another thing too, is getting motivated by how you feel. But the only way that you can feel better is by doing the thing. It's like they work together. You got to do the thing to get the result, and then the result fuels you to do the thing more.
Okay, thank you so much, Lisa. It has been such a beautiful talk, and thank you so much for all these cool, such powerful tips. I hope that it's gonna help a lot of people who will watch.
I hope so too. I hope so too, and I hope that people will go follow Rennie. Go follow Rennie and click the link in her bio. Buy the bundle. You can also get it from my link, but go support Rennie by grabbing the bundle from her link. And download all the cool stuff. It's brand new. Everything in this bundle is brand new. Some people are asking, like, is it the same as the old bundle? No, it's completely different from any other bundle. And this is all our brand new stuff. And Rennie contributed her new cravings busting ebook to it too, so you can learn more about what we're talking about.
Yes. Yeah. All the practical tips and like subconscious techniques, like emotional, like all the whole lifestyle, all the lifestyle aspects, how they affect and how to do it. Very practical. I did my best to make it very practical and applicable.
Nice. Yeah, I know. It's such a gold mine. And like we were talking about earlier, if after Sunday, which is like tomorrow, the bundle's over, if you were to buy everything separate, it'll cost over $840. But right now, just today and tomorrow, you only pay $50 and you get everything. So please go grab the bundle if you haven't yet.
I see, for me, like every time I open a new bundle, I'm like, whoa, it's even better than last year. Every time it's better and better and better. The standards are growing all the time. It's like, wow. And creators kind of get more experience and creating more and more, and we have new ones that for the love of tacos is like blew my mind. This book is so awesome. I made this one taco filling, and wow. I was like so surprised by the ingredients and how it's simple, and yet I didn't think of that in my 16 plus years, of being growing.
I know, and
So
that's what's beautiful about a bundle, because each of us has our own unique flavor blend, right? Like one of the recipes that I was most surprised with was Chris Kendall's banana rice pudding.
yeah.
The ingredients in there, I was like, really? Those ingredients, what? So I made it. I was like, I have to try this, because the ingredient list was like, simple, but I didn't expect it to taste the way it did. And I was like, we need to make this all the time now.
Typical for Chris, yeah, like quite simple things. He has more elaborate also, and some so simple, but it's really, I feel like he's like playing and playing and playing with recipe to really fine tune it, and making it over and over again, and it's just like, wow, mind blowing.
Yeah, totally. Well, thank you always for joining the bundle, Rennie. You always contribute such amazing stuff, and I hope people enjoy everything. I see someone's asking, can I ask how you keep fat grams for weight loss, reversal of type diabetes and high cholesterol? Honestly, like every single health condition usually is helped. Like there's not any like specific thing for each specific, it's just general health. Like once you're generally healthy, usually things clear up. That's my views anyways. But I would say anywhere between 8 and 15% total calories coming from fats, if you're eating enough. And that's the problem. Like people usually, like if you think 10% fats from a 1200 calorie day is only like 16 grams of fat, right? Or 14 or 13 or something like that, which is too low. But you're only eating 1200 calories, which is also too low.
Yeah.
But if you're eating, but if you're eating 2400 calories, 10% is like, I think it's almost 30 grams of fat. So you're still in the 10% range, but because you're eating a lot of everything else, you can eat a little bit more fat, but stay in 10% total calories from fat. So I think the 10% is a good guide, and then you adjust based on your activity level and how you feel and all that other stuff.
Yeah, for me, like if it's around 2000 calories, it's like very roughly like 4 tablespoons of like nut seeds or avocado.
Yeah.
It's like about 4 tablespoons, like very rough, and I think it doesn't have to be so precise.
I agree.
If you keep it to 4 tablespoons, it's like a no-brainer.
Yeah, exactly. I know, it's like, a quarter cup is usually like the most I'll have.
That's
and quarter cup of seeds, or I'll have like maybe 2 tablespoons here, or like I had 3 tablespoons in my smoothie. So I mean, my fat's going to be a little higher for today, but I don't stress about it.
Yeah, it's up and down. It's fine.
Yeah. You just base on how you feel, and then you adjust the next day.
Wow.
Yeah. So thanks for having me on. This was really fun.
Thank you so much for having for coming. I mean, and thanks so much. I can't thank you enough for organizing this Raw Vegan bundle, because I feel that we have the Raw Vegan Summit. I mean, Raw Food Summit, and we have the Raw Vegan bundle, and I feel that these are most important 2 events. Like you make it as an event with all the lives, and this is so important for Raw Vegan community. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, we're excited for next year already, but doesn't mean that you can't get the bundle now.
Yeah, you better get it, because it's going to be a whole year from now.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lisa.
You're welcome.
Thank you everyone for coming. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.